Alrighty, this week, our weekly coaching video is going to focus on adding more good. So, specifically, I'm talking about food. We're going to keep these first couple videos all about food because that's what's going to drive your energy, drive your body's ability to exercise, and make sure that you're getting the returns you want on your time and energy investment into exercise. I always think of exercise not as a punishment, right? We talked about that, but as an investment in your body's future. But a key part of that is what you're eating. And so many of us, and this is going to kind of overlap a little bit with last week too, just to kind of re-hit home on those parts we're talking about, is that our bodies have nutritional needs, right? We need to eat food. Food is fuel. Food is not feelings. It can be sometimes, right? Yes, but it's not always. Like our body needs stuff. The cool thing I think though is that it's not just like a one size fits all approach, which is also sometimes maddening. But you think about it, all the different cultures, all the different regions of the world, and how differently their native diets are. Like Asia, white rice. America, if you eat white rice, you're like, oh my gosh, you're not eating brown rice? Like the health food craze, right? And so then you think about in Alaska how much fish they eat. And in other places, it's like, oh my gosh, you can't eat fish. Like that is so much mercury and poison, right? Other cultures, they don't eat beef. Other cultures don't eat meat at all. They eat only plants. And, then there's like, but there's no way to get enough protein if you only eat plants. So is there one answer? No. The one thing that all these different dietary things have in common, all the different trendy diets too, when you think of paleo, you think of keto, you think of vegan, you think of Whole30, they don't focus on junk food. They focus on real foods where the food is the ingredient, right? You're really just kind of assembling or mixing together real ingredients. The can of chicken condensed soup, the potato chips, the cheese balls. They're still in my house. Those aren't part of the diet, right? French fries, fried food, not typically a part of it. And so that is to me the good stuff. I really hesitate to use the words good and bad when it comes to food. The words nutrient dense, I feel like is overused to this point, but it's also one of the most accurate. Real foods tend to have a whole lot more nutrition. That being said, we now buy Carnation instant breakfast essential pre-mixed drink mix for my kids to have after school before swim practice because it's too long. I don't have time, and it's got what they need. Stuff they don't need to, but it's got what they need. So all that segue into you have to make sure that you are feeding your body what it needs. So we're going to talk a little bit about what happens when you don't. And I'm pretty sure you're going to relate and recognize, oh yeah, oh yeah. So if your body is missing enough energy, calories are energy, those are synonymous. If your body is not getting enough energy, you're going to feel tired. You're going to feel crabby. You might even get a headache. And over time, at a cellular metabolic level, your metabolism slows down. Your body recognizes, hey, we don't got enough fuel coming in here. We got to slow our roll. Anything that's extra, cut it off, right? You think of like a company downsizing, your body is downsizing its non-essential systems. It's switching to essential functions only, right? So that's not a good thing, right? We want our body to be able to regrow hair. We want our body to put down more bone deposits into our bones. We want our body to process waste and remove toxins. Okay. If we're not getting enough regular food, I'm just talking calories at all, then those extra systems, development of like eyes, those little maintenance things, if it's not essential, like muscle movement, breathing, and brain activity, it's gonna suffer. So that's important. And that's a simplified version, but I think it does enough where you're going to be like, oh yeah, so I need to eat enough. You need to eat enough. Absolutely. Can your tummy be full and you be nutritionally starving? Yes, 100%. If you ever eaten a whole bag of Doritos, you are not hungry for the rest of the day, or at least I'm not. But did you really get what your body needed? No. So we haven't shut down necessarily the essential functions. We still got enough energy to function, but we're not going to feel very good. And then when our body needs some of those vitamins and minerals to do the normal functions, they're going to pull it because, guys, our body always keeps reserves, right? We store some of our essential vitamins are fat soluble, meaning our body can store them in case we didn't eat enough. It can pull it out of our fat tissue, right? Our bones are deposits of calcium. So if we don't eat enough calcium, our bodies are going to get it, but they're going to take it from our bones. So yeah, you can be full of food. Your belly can be full. You could be getting enough food, but if you're not getting enough nutrients from your food, your body's going to find a way to get it. And so I think this is my theory on it, along with the emotional side. Some of our mindless eating are just like, I just have to keep eating. I really do think it's our bodies sometimes telling us like we are missing something. I don't know if you've ever seen, maybe it's just me because I like spend a lot of time looking at food stuff, but there used to be a couple graphics that would go around. Oh, if you're craving this, then your body really wants this. I don't know if there's a whole lot of truth to that, but I think there is some truth to it. I kind of think people went backwards trying to build it. They were looking for, okay, well, what you're craving this, what is in this that you might be needing? I think they were trying to just find the good in all those things, but I do think there's some truth to it. All this to say, if you take care of what needs to get taken care of, a lot of stuff is going to get taken care of without you doing extra work. So take care of the basics, get the good. The rest is going to take care of itself. So if you focus on making sure you're getting enough calories and that they're pretty close to an estimated macro range, things are going to feel a whole lot better. And I've had clients in the past say, well, once I started getting more calories, like, oh, I had a lot more energy to do my workouts. I didn't miss my workouts. Or, hey, I started eating more protein and I was fuller and I wasn't craving all the junk food in the afternoon or at bedtime. Or, oh my gosh, I started eating an actual dinner instead of trying to restrict myself and then binge at a bedtime snack. That is something I used to do. I used to not eat enough dinner. I used to be, I'm going to be a good girl. I'm just going to have a small portion. But then at bedtime, 3 hours later, I was starving. And it's not like I was reheating leftovers. No, I was getting out the pretzels and dip. I should have just had more dinner with protein, healthy fats, and healthy carbs versus my pretzels and dip, which, yes, gave me energy, but could I have made a better choice? Yes. Do I sometimes still have pretzels and dip at night? Yes. But one, the quantity is nowhere near as high because I'm fuller. I'm not hungry. But I would go to bed legit hungry because I hadn't eaten enough dinner. And so I know if you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm shoving everything in your mouth. This is next week we were talking about this mindless eating more specifically, but a lot of times it's because we've missed a step during the day. We have forgotten to fill our bodies with the good, and our bodies will tell us if it's missing something. So pay attention to signs like fatigue, crabbiness, headaches, especially like if they're in the back of your head. A lot of times that's a dehydration, low blood sugar kind of headache. If you're always sore, if you were sore from every workout, we're either working way too hard or we are not getting our body enough protein, carbs, and magnesium, probably, and potassium and some other things like that. We got to work on that. Okay. Being sore all the time is not okay. And hopefully you're not sore all the time. A couple times or when you do something new or really challenging, totally normal, but it should go away like the next day or like a day after. But I don't want you chronically sore. That's not good for your body either. Just making sure instead of focus, a lot of times, fad diets and the way we might have approached healthy eating before or making eating changes to our diet was to cut out. Be like, I'm not going to eat that. I think a better way is to change what you focus on. Don't focus on the bad stuff. Let the good stuff crowd out the bad stuff. If all of your energy is centered around getting the good stuff, prioritizing the good stuff, the stuff your body really needs, the bad stuff is going to naturally kind of float to the edges. It's going to become more of a fringe, and it's easier to focus on adding more when it's something good for you than to take away something bad, right? Like you take away a toy from a toddler, what do? They scream and cry. You want to take away something they shouldn't be playing with, what do? You give them something good to play with, and then they lose interest in the bad. And so that's what I see happening with food. It definitely happens with myself, but it's a positive reinforcement strategy that goes along with coaching. And I've seen it over and over with clients over the years, is that when we focus on doing more of what our body needs, focus on adding what we're missing, adding the good, the stuff we wanted to get rid of, just we don't have time for it. We don't have the attention for it, and we stop wanting it as much. So where your thoughts go, that's where your energy goes. That's what happens. So focus on the good. Don't punish yourself for the bad. Don't eliminate the bad, but focus on the good first. At the end of your meal, you still want to have some pretzels and dip. Okay, do it. But you covered your bases with the good. And so that's where we want to focus your charge or challenge, but I'd love to hear from you. Or at least I want you to reflect on privately, or privately in a message with me if you're more comfortable with that, but share with the group if you're comfortable on what is something good that you have focused on and how did that go? Or what do you need? What do you think? What does this open your eyes to? What does this inspire you to like, oh, have you been going about it as in terms of like the takeaway method? Did that work? Do you think focusing on something good to add? And a lot of times it's breakfast. We have to beef up our breakfast, not meaning eat beef at breakfast, but actually have a breakfast for some of us, or actually eat a meal. Sometimes I know when I get busy, I kind of snack for lunch, and then come like 3 o'clock, I'm in a hangry, crabby mess, and I have to eat a giant snack, but then I'm not hungry for dinner. And so then I don't eat enough dinner, and then at bedtime I'm hungry. It's like, Heather, if you just eat lunch, a legitimate lunch meal, you guys, oh yeah, this is a good thing to put in here. I'm not saying this as a dietitian, everyone's needs are going to be different, but I do not count what you're eating as a meal unless it's at least 350 calories. Ideally, I want to see 4, because if you eat 3 meals a day plus like 2 small snacks, that's going to get you bare minimum like 1,500. And that's like bare minimum for most of you. So that's why I want to see meals. I don't get impressed by your 200-calorie meals, your 300-calorie meals. I want them bigger. I want them meals. They should make you full, not to the point where you're uncomfortable, but full enough where you don't need to eat again for at least 3 hours. That's how we're gonna work it into more of this, like the science of weight loss and why you have to wait kind of thing. But eat your meals. Focus on the good. Make your meals legit, stuff you like. If you need help with that, check out their Apple recipe booklet. If you don't have it, let me know. There's going to be more coming out soon, so get excited about those. I'm excited about those. You guys will all get special early release stuff on that since you're my people. But takeaway message: focus on the what? That good. All right. Good job. I want to hear the good you're focusing on and how this has helped you.